Welcome back.
I'm gonna just hide myself so you don't have to see me.
Don't do that. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Outie. I'm Zoe.
I'm OutieByte.
And you are here for a great episode. One that I've been very excited to record and excited to talk to her. She has a very interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
And she told many very just shocking little anecdotes about just sexual experiences, and
it made me question whether or not we should just start like a sex experiences podcast.
There's so many avenues. I think it'd be cool.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh my god, like just you guys wait. It's wild. And she was really nice too. She was like very easy to talk to, and
she's very cool.
I enjoyed her a lot.
Felt like we all need to go grab a beer or something.
Yeah.
Like it just felt very casual. It was very good.
I love that she agreed to do an episode with us.
Yeah.
I feel very, very happy about it.
Especially
and I
when
think you guys will like it.
Especially when they like haven't talked about the fetish before.
Yeah, this is her first time. She told us that this is her first time speaking about this out loud.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah, I think that's like really kind of courageous of her. It's always hard to like kind of come out of your shell, you know, and
especially on a podcast. And
on a podcast,
talking to two people she doesn't know. And,
exactly.
You know, I'd be so scared. I don't know.
It's a safe space.
I don't know how anybody does it. I would be so nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I would be nervous. I think I would quickly feel comfortable, but I would feel
I don't know. I feel like we're
nervous.
Disarming.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, that's why I'd feel comfortable, because I feel like we're very, like, comforting people, you know? We're in our closet right now, and my back itches so bad, and I just pulled a hanger out, like, so swiftly without even looking to itch my back. This is our first podcast that we filmed in our closet. Because today our apartment building is conducting like fire alarm testing and stuff like that. So all day it's just been nonstop. There's like a fire alarm in our bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's very loud. It's like if you're in a store, like at the mall or something, and the fire alarm goes off. It's that high pitched, like, ee, ee, and then like the boop, boop. It's like both of them.
Man. Star Wars, call this lady right now. The newest droid is in town.
It's like the ee-ees and the boop-boops. It's been that like all day.
Wait, you just reminded me of that. Gotta get that beep beep. Gotta get that boop boop.
Oh, wait, that's R. Kelly. We
can't sing R. Kelly.
No.
Fuck him.
That's a good song, though.
I know, unfortunately.
It's sad. I really
it's
do like that
unfortunately
song.
a good song.
It's like when I have always gotten excited when that song comes on, but not anymore.
I know.
But anyway, so we're in our closet. But I think it's been nice. Our closet's pretty big, so.
This is our third attempt at scheduling a podcast episode with her.
Yeah. It's been very chaotic.
Life has just been chaotic, but we got it done. We were finally able to record this thing for you guys, and yeah, I think we should hop into it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. How do we want to start this thing? Let's see. Are you ready, Tori?
I'm ready if you guys are.
Okay. Yeah. We are ready. Okay, first off, I want to apologize to everybody. We have I don't know if you can hear it in the background, it's going off right now. We have a bit of a fire alarm problem going on in our apartment. They're testing all of the fire alarms in the whole building while we record this. So hopefully it doesn't get in the way. But we're really excited to have well, how about this? I'm not going to introduce you. How about you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Tell us as much info as you're comfortable sharing, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Tori. I guess I started off on Reddit, and that's kind of how I found you guys as well. I didn't exactly get into it for belly buttons per se. It was more for like OnlyFans and just kind of doing a little side hustle for myself.
Now, when you say get into it, you mean you are an OnlyFans content creator?
I am, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, I am. So I don't know how comfortable you guys are with me talking about that, but like that does play a part in how we found each other. So it's like, so I got started doing that about 2.5 years ago. Just out of nowhere, getting kind of bored with daily life and wanted something fun to do with my time. So in between everything, that's what I was doing. And then I came across your content and I was like, oh, there's others out there like me. Hold on, wait a minute. Like, because I've kind of had this fetish for about mostly my whole life since I was about 8 years old or so.
Yeah. And how old are you now?
I am 31.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So you've had this since you were 8 years old. How did you even realize that you were into belly buttons? Like, how did it all start?
Oh. So that's the funny story about how it all happened was growing up, I was in a really strict religious household growing up.
Do you mind saying like what religion?
Oh yeah, sure. Catholic.
Okay.
So super strict to where it was like, oh, my mom wears a veil and you go to church and receive communion on the tongue, like the whole shebang.
Yeah.
We did it. And, it was fun for the time. And, and, it kind of played into that with the whole coming of age and exploring who you are sexually. And that in general just made my mom very uncomfortable from the get-go. Her given history with whatever she has going on, and it just played a role in her raising me. And so she kind of decided that she was going to be very intrusive in one of my first sexual experiences with myself. And kind of like bring the whole family into it, make a big deal about it, and tell me I'm going to hell and all of these things. Like it was really like traumatizing for a kid of 8 years, right? Like for a kid of 8, like you look at that and you're like, hold on. My mom told me I can come to you for anything, but that's a big no-no and you're going to hell. Go confess.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'm looking at you like you're dirty. Like if you want to think of Carrie, like the Stephen King Carrie, like not to that extreme, but like subtle hints of it,
Yeah.
And so from there, it was don't touch yourself. That's dirty. Well, when you have urges, what are you supposed to do when you're a kid? So you kind of find ways around it. And it just so happened that I found out that belly buttons was something that was very much in tune with down there to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started just kind of experimenting with that growing up. And I was like, holy crap. Like you can actually feel yourself if you're connected,
Yeah. And you have that connection. You feel that.
Yeah, for sure. And I've always had that since as long as I can remember. And it was kind of like a comfort to me in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I discovered magically, 8-year-old me, hey, look what I can do. I'm not touching myself down there so my mom can't get mad. So it was like, so I found this new thing and then, the internet happened and everything. And fast forward, I started looking into like YouTube, just basic stuff and Google searching, whatever. And I found out that there was actually a small community at the time of fetishists for it. And that fascinated me because I was like, well, what else can you do at that point? So I started looking into it a lot more and just...
And what age are you talking about now? Like you said you start looking into it more, like around what time was that?
I'm going to say probably about, maybe 12, 13.
Okay.
On up from there. Yeah. And then I never really told anyone about it either. So me telling you guys about all this is like, this is unheard of for me because in all of the time I've had this I've never come out about it to anybody. So
Is this the first time you're like speaking out loud about it?
it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's kind of, I'm a little nervous about this, but like
Yeah.
I've seen you guys online and everything and had a couple conversations before, and you know, you guys are really chill, and I just think that it's great what you guys are doing for the community and helping, like, you know, other people that don't really know who to reach out to when you have that kind of a fetish, because it's so obscure, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you. No, we appreciate you saying that, and
Yeah.
we're like honestly really excited that you're on today, because I don't know, I just feel like you, especially with having that religious aspect to your early upbringing, like you have a really unique perspective, or one that we haven't touched on yet that other people might be able to relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you first started looking up content, like, do you remember, were you finding like forums? Were you just looking up video stuff? Do you remember what those like early belly button searches like resulted in?
So at the time, a lot of it was like, to start off with, was stories. They were like online, like almost like a Reddit forum type of thing. I don't really remember which one it was at the time, but you would have people coming up with different story content, things like that, drawings and illustrations, what have you. So I started looking into that, was really the first thing. And then, like, you know, who doesn't look at actresses and actors and stuff like that growing up? And you're like, oh, okay, okay. But like fully getting into it wasn't until like the teens, and then I started looking into like the more
intense
deeper stuff, more intense stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then just kind of going from there and getting more intrigued and seeing what other people think is satisfying, I guess. Because to me, I see that as part of my sexuality. I suppose, like, that plays a big role in me being satisfied. So for me, not being able to really talk to anyone about it, it's like, I'm kind of in the closet about it.
Sure.
In a way. So it's like the only time I can really fully have that moment to myself is when I'm by myself. So it's like, it is frustrating at times not being able to talk about it.
So
that's another thing.
What has been your reluctance in sharing it with like past partners?
See, a couple of them have done it on their own to where I didn't have to ask for them to do it. Like playing or poking, what have you, and just like.
And did you make it known, like in that moment, that like, yes, I'm all about this?
I told them that because they would ask like, oh, does it turn you on? And I would tell them, yeah, of course it does. But I never really went beyond that.
Yeah.
I think I still had that like that Catholic guilt about me, where I was like, you know, he's gonna think that you're like weird or like it's dirty or something like that. And I'm like, mentally, my mind just was not as free and open as I am now. But even still now, I'm very reserved with my fiance. So it's like, I've been with him, oh my God, how many years? 13 years almost. And
so that's the biggest plot twist of this whole thing.
That's the huge plot twist.
So you've been with someone for 13 years. They have been your fiance for how long?
4 years.
4 years? Oh man, I thought it was 2.
No,
4 years. And they have no idea.
No idea.
That's great. How does that
Isn't
make
that
you
a
feel?
kicker? That, you know, it makes me feel like, because he shared his things with me, of course. And I'm like, there's just some part of me that's still with that guilt. That's like, well, what if he leaves you over it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't get why I would have that, because, well, if I didn't leave him over what he has, like,
yeah.
So
if you can compare it, like, you don't need to reveal anything, but how does your belly button fetish line up with his kinks? Like, would you say that in like the public eye, like his would be viewed as weirder or more quote unquote normal? Like, how would you compare them?
I'm gonna say, well, it's not like he's gonna be listening to this anyway.
I mean,
Unless
it's okay. It's like it's a furry thing. All right. So there's like
okay.
slight furry aspects to certain things, and I'm like, okay, if people from the outside look at that, they would look at mine as kind of the same as that. So that comfortability factor is there. It's just me not being able to fully say, hey, look, I'm comfortable with him. Absolutely. He does so much. He's great. I love him. Absolutely. But there's that one aspect that just says, well, what if he doesn't love you enough?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
and I go, well, damn.
You said 13 years?
Yeah.
Is part of you afraid to bring it up now because so much time has passed? Or
kind of. That's exactly what I was thinking the other night, because I was like trying to think of like what you guys would potentially be asking me. So I was like thinking, and I'm like, yeah, that does play a role, and it's been so long. And he came out with his like 2 years in.
Okay, so he
So
was
like,
pretty. I mean,
pretty
that's
upfront.
still. I mean, it's still.
But it was
late.
still long.
Yeah, it's 2 years is still a bit of time.
You know what you could do is pretend that you just discovered it and be like, whoa, like, guess what? Like,
guess what I just found?
Can we like try this and see if like we're into it? And then, and then you'll be into it. And then, and then if he's not, then you're just like, oh yeah, well, never mind. Like, just make it like a new thing.
But that's also like part of the fear, right? Is that you're scared, I would imagine, that there's still the potential that he might not be into it.
Yeah. But then, so yeah, at the same time, but then he'll do random things that like he'll rub my stomach and stuff like that. And he'll poke me in my belly button all the time, but it never goes beyond that. And I never really like played into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like the urge is there for him to want to do it and he's afraid to, or what.
I remember like being in situations with my exes and they like wouldn't know that I had a belly button fetish, and they'll be like, we'll be like cuddling and they'll have their hand on my belly and they'll be like rubbing it around, and it's like waiting for the finger to like drop in. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the hand is going around, it's swirling around, it's getting closer, and it like never happens. And it's like it's one of the worst feelings.
It's like there's this anticipation and anxiousness that you're like, you want it, but you don't want to like ask for it.
Yeah. And there's this like hint of, how it's going to feel, how exciting it's going to be when it finally happens, and it never does. And it's just like, it kills you.
It does. that you guys are like hitting the nail on the head with this one.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So when you first started, because I want to revisit the fiancé stuff later, but when you first started getting into that more intense content, like what did you find yourself leaning towards in terms of the stuff that you really enjoyed watching? And did that affect the way you played with your own belly button at all? Like, what was that evolution like at that time when you started finding that other content?
Yeah, I would say it did absolutely play a role in it. I started off more vanilla, regular, just fingering, tickling, basics. And then I was like, well, okay, well, there's obviously different types. So I'm like, okay, well, let's type in outies.
Yeah.
So we started looking into that, and I'm like, okay, well, I think I could manage to like get off on this. So I started looking into it more, and I came across, I can never remember who it was, but it was like this really, at the time, popular guy that was going around doing different random girls on the street belly button play videos.
So that, I think username or his brand was called like Outie Lover.
Yeah.
And a lot of those videos still exist online.
Yes.
Yeah. He would just go
Absolutely,
around
that
to like
was the
random
one.
people on the street and like have this, when I say the tool that he uses at the end, like, you know, the tool I'm talking about.
The little clampy thing.
Yeah. So we just discovered what that is and just bought one like a couple weeks ago. And
Did you really?
yeah. And it's like a sewing clamp. It was such a random discovery.
Oh,
Like, I think I was looking at nipple clamps. I was trying to figure out what the hell he was using,
yeah.
but then I found this sewing clamp thing and I'm like, holy shit, like that's exactly what he uses. But anyway, you
Oh,
discovered this
that's
guy.
insane. And that was
Yeah.
the exact one that I was going to bring up too. So that's funny that you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that. No, but that was one of the ones. And I saw that and I was like, holy shit, wait, like, is that possible to do it? And I was always jealous that I didn't have an Audi. And I was like, well, you know, it is what it is. So I kept going. And then I discovered that you could actually do it to an innie. And I was like, holy shit. This is like magical for me. I'm like, okay, how do I do it? And the process of trying to do that, when I say it took me years to like be brave enough to fully do it, it took me years.
Really?
It did because so with how mine is, it's so deep that it was so hard to get a good grasp on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it kept happening was it was just like, oh, fold it out a little bit and then that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to literally train it out. And it took me from when I started doing OnlyFans, like maybe it took me a year, not years, maybe it took me a year. All right. A year to fully be able to do it, but I didn't start being able to pull it out until I started doing OnlyFans
No way.
because I
So,
ended up having a request for it.
oh, no way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and this was from a random, like,
Yeah.
so it just so happened that they hit the lottery. They found a random OnlyFans person that actually has a belly button fetish.
That's crazy.
They did. Absolutely. And I was like, holy shit, there are actually some out there. So I went with it. And then from there, he was just like encouraging it. And then now here we are.
So when you said that you always wanted an Audi, was that before you discovered that it felt good to touch your belly button, or did that thought happen later?
That thought happened later. Like after I realized, because like when I was younger, if I was reaching up for something, I would literally stretch as hard as I could just so I could feel that pull in my abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that the reason I was feeling that was because, like, you know, the knot at the base of it. And I was like, okay, so that makes sense with why it feels good. And then you like look into all the connection and everything. And then I started Googling into like what the sensation would be like of having an Audi.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I looked into like trying to see if they did surgeries and stuff like that to make it happen, and everything was always reversal.
Yeah, yeah. It was always the
And
other way.
that always bothered me. I'm like, damn, why would you want to get rid of that? But you know, everyone has their thing. But like, if it was me, I would be happy. But that's neither here nor there. So, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so anyway, after that, I started actually doing it, and then once I was able, after I started poking around in there, like before I was able to fully get it out,
Mm-hmm.
I would make myself climax by straight up just fingering myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found out I could do that, I was like, well, if I get the Audi and pull the base out, I wonder if that would be better. And it was 100 times better than that.
No shit.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, so I need to either find something to hold it out so I can do that, because all I have is rubbing my fingers together and squeezing it as hard as I can. And it's, when I say it's fucking amazing, it is fucking amazing. So we discovered we can do that. And now that's kind of like almost the only way I can fully get off.
Now, when you pop your belly button out, there's obviously the part that your fingers are pressing in on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your belly button sort of bulges above that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like, let's say you were to replace your fingers with string and the string would be kind of like clamping around that area. Is that the area that feels the best? Or is it literally like the very, very top, like dimple?
It's the dimple.
Do you feel like the nerves are, how should I say, do you feel like you're able to access them or activate them like just by softly touching it? Or is it like you have to press really, really hard to feel it like deep inside? Does that make sense?
I think it's more so based on, sorry, on how horny I am, if I'm going to be honest. It can vary. It's a lot of it is based on where I'm feeling the most anxious, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm holding a lot of anxiety in my stomach, it's going to take a lot more pressure
Got it.
for me to be able to feel anything.
And you've never been able to tie it out before anything. It's always just been with your fingers.
It's always just been with my fingers, and I've tried, but it's kind of difficult because I do have nerve damage in one of my fingers.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's a little difficult for me to be able to do that right now. But I've been trying to figure out ways to try to work it out.
And have you ever like messed with like suction or anything like that?
I was looking into those suctions and seeing about doing that. That was on my to-do list.
You said that like I called my suction guy.
I know. I got him on the line. I'm going to talk to him. Yeah. No, but I've been very curious about getting into that. So any and all suggestions I'll take.
So you discovered, like, so you were never the type of person that would excuse me. Like, you were never the type of person that would like play with their belly button constantly, like fiddle around with it mindlessly in front of their friends. It was always like a private thing for you.
It was always a private thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause there are also those people who just like can't, it's like a fidget toy. It's like they can't stop touching it. Their friends notice, their friends comment on it. Their friends know them as the person who like always fiddles with their belly button or whatever.
I had those friends. I did. And
oh, did you?
I did.
And talk about that. Like, was that a distraction? Did you try to?
It was because, when you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know, how can I explain it without sounding like a creep? When you sit there and you have something that is like so obscure and it's right in front of you,
mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you not just sit there and stare at it and then just go, well, I'm going to excuse myself. Goodbye. Because it's like so uncomfortable because it's like you feel like you can't divulge into it because if you do, they're going to sit there and see how into it you are.
Yeah.
No,
I know what you mean. It's like the same thing of like when I was in middle school and high school and seeing like a girl stretch back in her seat and her shirt rides up and
exactly.
It's almost impossible not to look. I mean, you're super careful about it because you don't want to draw attention to yourself in any way, but it's like, fuck, like it's like right in front of your face and you never get satiated in any physical way other than these small glimpses that you get, throughout the weeks. And so to have it like right in front of you, like I had a I don't know, I might've mentioned this on one of our past episodes where you were asking me about like all of my experiences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being in, I think it was math class in 7th grade. And there was a girl who sat right behind me who would stretch back all the time. And it just so happened like a lot of those times I was like turned sideways in my seat or like facing her or something, and goddamn, it's like so fucking hard not to like, I remember how I was at that time. Belly buttons were such a distraction
to it.
Yeah, they were such a distraction. So, yeah, no, I definitely know how you feel, like having those friends that would always fiddle around with it, and you can't like you can't say anything, do anything about it. It's, yeah.
No, you can't.
I'm surprised that you never told anyone at all. Like how about this? What's the closest you ever got to telling somebody?
Let me think. The closest was probably in person. Like the only closest person in person, I would probably say was one of my exes. But that was because he wanted me to suck on his nipples because they were puffy. So I was like, well, he's weird, so maybe I could divulge it. Oh, and on top of it, his mother.
Had all these opportunities.
Okay. I had so many opportunities. Oh my God, Zoe,
That
like
is
you don't know.
fucking hilarious.
And then, okay, let me add to that one because there was a funny story behind that. So on top of it, so he was Russian and his mother didn't speak any English, and he hollered to her when we were like flagrante delicto, okay? I'm sitting here waiting for this man to do things, and he calls his mother in to bring condoms.
What? What?
Whoa. And then what happened?
And she stood there having a conversation asking if I wanted to stay for Musaka.
Get the fuck out.
Oh
I'm
my
not even
God.
kidding.
Are you laying there like naked?
He was in me.
No!
We were listening to Glee in the background. When I say, oh my God, I was like shocked. His mother made eye contact with me, smiled, and left.
No!
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No!
How long were you with this person before that? Like how long into the relationship was this? Like how long was?
Maybe like 2 months.
Oh my God. How many times had you met his mom before that?
That was the first time I met her.
No!
Oh my God. My
This
eyes
is the
are
first time I met her.
Oh my God.
You two in unison. That
I
was
know.
perfect.
I wasn't even looking at him. I have my fingers pressed into my eyeballs. Oh my God, I made my vision blurry.
Girl, no, I'm sitting
Holy-
here like clenching my fist thinking about it.
Oh
How
my
many times have you
God.
told that story? Oh my God.
What?
How many times have you told that story?
I know.
Oh well, everyone in my circle knows of that one.
That should
one's
be
Oh, yeah.
like a late night
crazy.
radio show call in. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking insane.
Oh
Hold
my
up. So
God.
you were in the middle of doing it and he calls out to his mom.
Yeah, to his mom.
Oh my God.
And did you like, I mean, if it were me, if I was in your position, hands would have been flying. Like, what the fuck? Like towels would have been flying, sheets would have been flying. I would have been covering up. I would have been, get the fuck off me. Like,
You would think that I would have reacted, right? I just kind of froze.
dude.
And
So
I just laid there like, maybe if I don't move, she won't see me.
he wasn't still like thrusting and shit when she walked in?
No, thank God he stopped when she knocked. At least she knocked.
But he stopped inside of you still?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I wonder if that's
Yeah.
like a kink of his. Like,
Oh my God, no, I didn't think of that.
yeah. Like, what if that's his thing?
But his mom?
No.
Poor little babushka.
Yeah, his mama. Oh my God. And
Oh my
bless
God.
her heart. She was the sweetest lady.
Oh my.
I don't even know if she knew what was going on, if I'm going
How
to be
did
honest.
she
but here
react? Was
came.
she just so like, did
So
she go like,
happy,
oh my
maybe-
God? Or like, was she like, oh my God, like, this is terrible.
My
Like, I'm
baby being
witnessing
safe.
this. Yeah.
No.
Or it was just
No.
like,
You
she
know,
just approached it like nothing was happening at all.
she looked us both, smiled, and handed it to him, literally asked. It was kind of, think about it. It was kind of like, oh my God, Mean Girls, where she goes, do you need a condom?
Yeah.
Just call. That
So
was what it felt like.
So how was dinner?
Dinner was amazing. I'll tell you what, that lady could fucking cook.
How was it sitting
Yeah.
at the table with her? I would have left.
I was sitting there, and then the dad. Oh my God, and the dad. He was aware of it all. He was in the house.
Oh my God.
And the fact that he was sitting there just smiling and nodding his head at his kid should have just told me I needed to get out of that house. And I
Why
didn't.
are we talking about any belly button stuff at all? Like, why aren't we just diving the fuck in on this story? This is so insane.
I have plenty of stories. Oh my God. Like, I have real life stories. I have OnlyFans. You just ask me later, whatever you want.
Oh my God.
God.
I would not be opposed to hearing at least one more story if you have anything at that level.
I have anything up. Oh, okay, I do. That's
Okay,
another walk-in
give us
story. Do you want another walk-in
another walk-in?
story?
Oh God.
my
Okay,
God.
sure, go for it.
All right. So it was with this current one that I'm with now, my fiance.
Okay.
All right. He was living in kind of like a frat house type of thing. And he had this very awkward roommate. Very awkward indeed. Okay. And he always would just stand there and stare at me like when I was just in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Clothed, mind you. Okay. Well, him and I were having sex, and his roommate busted in, stood there, and they had bunk beds, so we had covered it up with the blankets. And he lifted the blanket, you guys, and he was looking. He goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing?"
Get the fuck out.
I go, "Do you mind?" And he goes, "Huh? Oh, no, I don't." And then we literally both just screamed at him, "Get the fuck out!"
That's so
And
creepy.
then after that, he was just always lurking around and then sitting there smacking on his food like it was wet hot pussy. You know, it was just
Ew.
very uncomfortable the
Ugh.
whole time.
That's crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so that's part of my little backstory of
So,
traumas.
has there ever been a moment where you almost got found out? Did you ever leave a web page open by accident? Did you have like photos saved? Did you have, anything like that throughout the years?
The only thing would probably be my search histories when I was growing up. That and videos that I make of myself.
Okay.
Currently. Like I almost sent one of those to my mom accidentally. So that
Get
would
the
have been
fuck
fun.
out. Like, how close were you?
Oh, it's a good thing I checked to make sure who I was sending it to. That's how close. And I was like, well, that was the wrong thing. I was supposed to be sending her one picture, and that one was immediately next to it. And I went, well, nope.
Oh no.
So just be super careful with that one. I'm trying to think what else. No, that was really about it. No, you know what? I do take that back. One person does know.
Oh.
Kind of, but not to the
because of this, because of an accidental thing?
No, because she was a friend of mine when I started doing OnlyFans. And I had told her that one person had requested me to do some outie play.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Wait, what?" And I showed her what I could do with it, and she like kind of got freaked out by it.
No way.
And she was like, "I don't know." She goes, "It just feels like it would be so uncomfortable." I'm like, "It really isn't though." And then she would like kind of bring it up about like randomly.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if she was like still weirded out by it or if she was intrigued by it.
How did you feel? Because obviously that's the first time this is like a really vulnerable thing for you. I mean, that's the thing you do to get off. And you're doing it in front of somebody for the first time. Like, what was that like?
You know, that to me, you would think it would have been a little bit more like, oh, it actually did something, but it didn't. Because I think the fact that I was recording content with her, like manning the camera for me at the time. So I was really detached at that point sexually from everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even think it fazed me, which is why I didn't remember it until I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That one broad was with me. So like it was so mentally detached, like I said, that it didn't even process in my head that it had happened.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get to really settle into that. But that kind of gave me a little bit of a push to kind of like, I'll sit there if he's laying there, he'll be playing with his out of nowhere, my fiance.
Yeah.
And I'm just laying there and I'm like, you son of a bitch. All right. Well, so then I'll out of nowhere, if I get mad at him, I'll just poke him in the stomach. And then he started doing it back to me. So now it's kind of like the playfulness is there, but it's never gone all the way.
Okay. do you get off on watching other people play with theirs as well? Or is it more just, it's just like a physical touch with my own and that's it?
It kind of depends on what type of content I'm watching with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's just someone sitting and playing with it, it really doesn't faze me. It has to be like what I'm looking for, like mostly needle play, pulling it out, tying it out, doing a lot of piercings and stuff like that, like stuff that you wouldn't normally see every day.
Yeah, like the true outie piercing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then, but I can get off to other people doing it as well. I have never tried doing it to someone. I feel like that would be fun to do, and like dual play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I want to do with this one, but maybe one day.
It sounds like you, within your life, within your relationship, you have like all the ingredients there for a potentially like really great outcome.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have a fiance who's been with you for a really long time. So there's a massively solid foundation there. Has his own kinks that you've accepted. And I understand why you're still not revealing it to him, but it's like, what more could you ask for in terms of a comfortable, I shouldn't say comfortable, but like an accepting setting,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like, fuck, your whole life could change tonight. Like, you could tell him
You should
tonight.
be playful with him and ask him. You should be like, what kink could I have that you would just like not be into, that would just like turn you off or like gross you out or something like that. Just talk about,
See what his extremes are.
yeah, like see what he thinks
kind
is
of
like
kink
the
icks
worst
he
of the
has.
worst. Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. That I was thinking about something like that. So you confirming it, we may have to try it, and I may end up getting you guys a follow-up interview.
I would be so down for a follow-up episode. Not only that, but he will be on the show with, with you. And we've had that before. We've had that before where I don't know if you listened to it with Bob Dog.
Yeah, Bob Dog.
We there was this couple who lived in Germany, and she had the fetish and he did not. You know, we basically picked their brains about what it was like revealing it to him. What's it like engaging in play now? It seems like something that he's like been, I don't know, really not into in terms of he's starting to get this fetish, but into in terms of he sees that it's pleasing his girlfriend.
Yeah, and he's not just complying. He's
it.
like enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, enjoying enough to where he was like on the podcast, and we were able to like, and it was such a comfortable thing. But I know
that would be nice. I think that would be something I would want to eventually do because, you know, like you guys said, it is such a big part of my sexuality and what I need for myself that it's like, why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you incorporate your partner of 13 years into it? Yeah.
I think if anything, like I encourage you to do it just for yourself, you know, like it would be such a shame to go the rest of your life like not, like at least like giving him the chance to have that experience with you, you know, and just like, because then you'll be fulfilled, you know, you won't be suppressing anything for the rest of your life.
And in my last relationship, that was like story of my life, like not being able to fully express this and receive the play or engage in the type of play that I wanted to. Like it was such an anxiety inducing thing in my life, not being able to share that and open up about that. And all I can say, it's since then, you know, being with Zoe and being able to open up in the way that I have been, it's been like such a massive life change. Like I feel like a completely different person.
You guys are great. You guys have such a good dynamic together that I love that you guys can share that together.
High five.
Thanks.
You guys are just a couple goals.
So where are you getting your content from now? Like what's your go-to website? What search terms are you putting in the search bar when you're looking up this stuff?
So right now I have been kind of going on, is it ManyVids?
So
occasionally.
Are you buying content?
I peruse. I haven't per se bought any, but maybe I find some free ones that I'm gandering at every once in a while. And I'm thinking about possibly getting myself an account set up. So I've been perusing a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Mostly Reddit, different things like that too.
That reminds me, because I feel like this is a way more interesting question than the one I just asked.
No.
You have this reluctance to introduce the fetish into your personal life,
Mm-hmm.
but you're an OnlyFans content creator. Why haven't you stepped out into making belly button content? Like, I feel like that's only like the most logical route to go, and you still get to have this anonymity. Does it still have something to do with this like guilt, or do you feel like you are sharing too much of yourself, like your real self?
I think with the way that I see it is I don't want, because okay, maybe the way I should say it is, I guess it's not everyone's fetish.
Yeah.
Is one thing. And I did find that out through OnlyFans with a couple of people that were like, oh, well, what kind of kinks are you into that are obscure that no one really talks about? And then you bring it up and you kind of show them the content, and then it kind of falls by the wayside and they never bring it up again.
Okay.
So I've had with a couple of people, with some of them that's like, no, go for it. And I'm like, all right, fine. But I think part of it is the fear of the rejection of it. If I was to bring it out, because everyone has this image of who Tori is. Mm-hmm. They see me as, oh, she's the tea, she's the bombshell, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I am. All right, thanks. But I also have my own personal kinks that are usually not taken into consideration on OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. So for that, I do it for me because I enjoy showing myself because I can. So if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. But at the same time, there is that vulnerability where it's like, is that exposing too much of who I am as a person outside of OnlyFans?
Yeah.
And outside of Reddit,
What if you created like another like alter ego? Like, and your belly button stuff was separate from your other OnlyFans stuff. Like, is that possible? Is that too much?
See, I was considering that too. I don't think it would be too much because right now I have a lot of free time at the moment. So mainly what I've been doing has been just content when I get a chance to. And sometimes it gets a little boring and I want to be able to play up what I enjoy. So I do think in the near future that is possible.
Now, I would love to get your guys' opinion on this too, because I've always viewed OnlyFans as a place for everyone. Like, I can't imagine being a content creator and losing followers because they see something that they don't like. I feel like the OnlyFans model, while yes, you pay the subscription and you now have access to this person's feed and all the videos that they've made in the past, but there's also the paid videos that you need to unlock. And, the person who doesn't want to see it just isn't going to pay for that. But
yeah,
everybody else, that's more money in your pocket. Again, I can't just imagine somebody running away because they encounter something that they don't like, that they don't have to pay for or click on.
Somebody could just mentally be turned off if like it just really like grosses them out or something. Like,
so
like say I was following somebody and say I was like super grossed out by like feet and they started posting foot stuff, I'd be like, ugh. And
well,
like,
I mean, okay,
like,
Tori,
not be interested in that person anymore.
What stuff do you post the most? Your followers are coming to you for what type of content?
They usually come to me for a lot of teasing content, teasing and toy play mostly.
Toy play, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying about like people being turned off by it, but
I don't know how I would be able to like slip it into my normal content. Like I've taken pictures where it's just of my stomach to people, and they're people are like, "Oh, I want to fill your belly button with cum," blah blah blah. But no one really ever divulges more than that. So I'm like, well, do I play into that? No, okay.
You know, I think the chances of you putting out belly button content and having your current fan base like flock to that and put a couple extra dollars up front to like unlock a belly button video will probably be unlikely. However, there's this like massive audience that would love to see your belly button, see the type of content that you want to make. Like, oh my God, this girl actually has a belly button fetish, actually can like orgasm by like pulling her belly button out and playing with it. Like, that's unreal. You know, I mean, I think that there is room to like invite this whole other like batch of people into your group. Because to me, it's like going grocery shopping. You know what I mean? It's like you go, even though I'm paying a subscription to this one person's page, there's a ton, like, for example, like me as a belly button fetishist, I'm going to like these OnlyFans pages and I'm seeing stuff that I don't want to see, stuff that I don't want to engage in, but I want this. I want to see that. And there it is right in front of me. I get to buy it. I get to stream it, whatever. And you know, just knowing that that itch is going to be scratched with this person who puts out a few videos every once in a while, that's good enough for me, you know, but just because they're uploading all this other shit doesn't like scare me off or anything, you know? So that's how I've always viewed OnlyFans. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that.
What do you think? I'll let you go ahead.
I mean, I'm kind of still holding with my original opinion, you know? I mean, everybody's different, but I could see like people, I don't know.
Like you think vanilla people?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you can incorporate, like if you really wanted to, you can incorporate the teasing into your belly button, you know? Like what you do with other parts of your body with it. You could like start incorporating your belly button into that just to like dip your toe in the water and see how people react to that. And if people are negative, then like cut it.
Because ultimately in the end, like the belly button content that she could be making is not for them. You know, I guess, Tori, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the main fear is, oh, if I make belly button content, I could be super off-putting to my current customers and lose people.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like there's so many belly button people out there that could like flock in and, you know, hop into your fan base. But yeah, I don't know. I highly suggest it. I think whether you incorporate it into your current thing or you start your own separate like belly button thing, which could be cool. Like, I think
it would help empower you a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I think
I think I could use that.
Whichever way you choose to go, like, I feel like it's going to be successful. Like, I think people are going to want to see this.
Hey, well, you know, I won't know unless I try it, right? So I have been thinking a lot more about doing kind of like what you guys mentioned, separate content possibly, and then seeing who trickles on over to the other side, and possibly running like 2 OnlyFans pages and one be for my specific fetish, and just have that be for me, you know. I think that could be fun.
So I feel like we're gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have any other thing you want to ask. Do you want to ask her about any other walk-in stories or?
No, I think those 2 are enough. I can't.
That was probably the most visceral reaction I've had to anything being mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like I screamed.
You are so welcome.
Oh my God. We need to start a whole nother podcast for this type of shit. All right, Tori, go ahead and hang around for a sec, but we're going to leave it at that. But thanks for joining us. We're really glad we got to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, you guys. It's been great.